I'm shooting this video in order to apply for the summer internship program in Anglo Gulf Trade Bank. So previously I was a student with a bachelor degree in management. So right after graduate, I joined a talent development program of a private firm under a sovereign fund in Dubai. So my responsibility was mostly on working for projects for different kind of entities, either for government side or more on the private side in Dubai. For example, I work on performance improvement projects for Dubai Chamber, and also I've worked on energy storage strategy project for Expo 2020. And after the development program, I joined the consulting arm of the large logistic group, DHL group. So I was mostly responsible for projects such as corporate strategy and performance improvement within the organization across different business units. And then another big pillar of my work was working for external clients. I work on some more public sector side. I work on economic development, so for a entity in the Middle East, and also work on market entry strategy for electric vehicle company in Europe. So a broad range of topics on different industries and different functions through the experience in talking in Dubai, as well as the consulting experience and DHL consulting. Again, a broad skill sets of problem solving, client facing, communication, and also strong research skills. So and then I decided to join INSEAD because I want to get a broader exposure to business, as well as to understand different culture when it comes to a business setting. So after INSEAD, I would like to move back to Dubai and trying to work there. So the second thing I'm gonna answer would be my strengths and weakness. So I believe one of the biggest strengths would be I really have that growth mindset. So whenever I trying to understand something new or I encounter a problem, I make up my mind and really trying to understand it. So because I constantly want to grow either for the sake of like knowledge itself or for the sake of being better, like perform better in a work professional setting. So that's what I keep constantly doing. I even putting in my extra personal time in order to learn more. The second thing I would consider my strength would be I take initiatives, or let's say I have strong ownership over things. So when I was in digital consulting, I noticed that for some projects it's hard for us to identify the suitable expert for the project. So I look at my own network, contacting people to get a better sense or better understanding of what's a better approach that I could know in order to get the right expert for getting the right input for the project. So when I was working on a particular project for market entry for a company, I initiate that the connection with the professional expert network, which ending up solving the urgency of sourcing the right expert for that particular project, as well as the 40% cost reduction for the firm, which was highly regarded within the firm, and because of the cost reduction, as well as the input for different kind of projects across the APAC. And in terms of witness, I would say sometimes I might be a little bit impatient because I want things to happen faster and more efficient. So when things are slow, sometimes I'm getting a little bit like, can it be faster or something like that back in my mind. But I'm trying to improve it right now, and because I know that giving a right balance of working efficiently and working sustainably is very important. So the third thing I would like to answer is the proudest accomplishment. So there is a project when I was in DHL consulting. We were a team of 4 one project manager, two consultants, and one intern. We're working for a market entry for a European electric vehicle company, as well as a sourcing strategy for them. So the project manager back then, the project manager spent a significant time abroad, so not much local experience. And when she was handling a project, she's sometimes a little bit confused of where to go in terms of looking at the regulations and policies, and also in the second pillar of the project in terms of the sourcing strategy, where she wondered where could we get a complete list of suppliers that might fit the client's requirement. So back then I believed that I have a better knowledge and experience on this, so I initiated to take over the work stream of the policies research, as well as the getting the suppliers list and filtering criteria for this specific pillar of the project. So I tap into my own network and also consult people within the organization which I built a network with before. So after getting those information, I've greatly smoothed the work stream, that this pillar of the work, and make the project project progress faster, even under a very strict deadline and very complicated topic. And this project at the end was highly regarded within the group and was promoted as one of the best projects within the business unit. And at the end, a year later, actually the client entered the market with a 500 million euro investment and adopting a strategy I proposed before. And this particular project and what I've done, I am quite proud of it. Another things I'm trying to answer here is that I work better under pressure or not. I believe I work better under some sort of pressure, because if it's totally pressure free and we just progress as it's progress, and I might spend a lot of time on the detailed things, because of the fact that I might have enough time. So under a certain degree of pressure, I might push myself a little bit harder and trying to be more efficient in terms of delivery, in terms of project delivery. So that's what I believe I might work best under a certain degree of pressure. So another question to answer is how to handle meeting the tight deadlines. So as a ex-consultant, also as a student in INSEAD, I constantly realize that I have deadlines all the time, even for at work for projects, at school for deadlines for work assignments. I'm quite used to this environment. So in order to meet the time deadline, I think the most important thing is trying to prioritize things, like using criteria such as which is the most urgent, which is the most important, which I could seek more input from others, which I have to do it completely independently. So having those parameters in mind, as well as know where the priority lies, could help me better arrange things, and that's how I deal with meet time deadlines. So another thing trying to answer is what do I do when my schedule is interrupted? I think at work the schedule interruption is not necessarily avoidable. So there's an occasion at the consulting that I was working on a project and my boss suddenly came to me and said, oh, there is a rare opportunity that I got to present it in front of the conference on digitalization. Could you please prepare some materials on this? I was quite busy at the time, but since this is very important for the boss and the firm as well, so I gotta prepare it. So I basically spend a little bit extra time at work, and also look at the previous projects that we have done related to the topic of digitalization, and also contact colleagues which might have previous experience on this, and to get some quick important input so that I have a better understanding really early on, and then align with the manager where what kind of things he actually want, what are some things that he wanted to address. So, and then I work on it. And for my pillar of the project that I was working on, I would chat with the other project colleagues. Could they handle a little bit more of this part of the work at this particular week? And so basically, I did three things. So, reach out to internal resources to get better understanding of the topic that I got interrupted with. The second is align with the people who interrupt you with the topic of what was his priority. Third thing, work a little bit extra time and at the same time coordinate with the project colleagues if he or she is it possible to better allocate the work this week. Well, probably I work more this week, but next week, but this week you might take a little bit more responsibility on my part because I have another thing to handle, and that was my experience in handling this. The another question is answer is how did I handle a difficult situation. So at Falcon and Associate, there's a project on energy storage for the government entity. So we were a group of 4 folks in this project. Again, I led the work stream on energy storage technology evaluation. So at first we were looking at landscape and everything was fine, but when it comes to technology evaluation, the two of the teammates actually have different opinions, and they put their rationale behind their understanding of the topic as well as certain technology, but as it goes on, as the rationale goes on, the basically atmosphere becomes somewhat like weird. It seemed to me that they were not willing to compromise on their opinion because at the time they chose a different technology. So the day end, we separate back home. I was thinking, okay, the atmosphere a little bit weird. So what should I do? So I sit down and look at the material again and trying to find some part of balance so that make them discuss with each other happily again. So I reach out to them separately and have a one-on-one chat with them and trying to understand their understanding of the topic better in a more comfortable environment because the other side is not there. So, and also understand better of the motivation of this particular pillar of work. And after talk with them separately, I actually, after understand their motivation and some understanding of the project, it's like one-to-one. I actually, based on what I have heard from them on their motivation and understanding, I address the important pillar of the work, like the importance of the project, basically, the time deadline, and how their input could be valuable, and how like the perfect delivery is the best to satisfy their motivation itself. So basically, I get them to a meeting again. We discussed the technology thoroughly, and then we came to a conclusion. So what I have done basically was trying to understand their motivation, trying to give a little bit of time to calm down a little bit of the environment, to make sure that they felt they were listened, and then we actually sit together and like finish the technology selection. And it ends up that we proposed to the client with the delivery, and the client was quite happy. So another thing, in terms of what I know about the bank. So the AGTB is a digital corporate trade bank, is one of this kind in terms of being digital and actually identify the gap between the trade finance and trying to address this. I think this is very interesting in terms of it identified an area that could be improved and is sort of a disruption of a quite traditional industry like in trade finance as well, which sounds surprising, which sounds exciting. And also, and I believe that Abu Dhabi itself is a great, Abu Dhabi itself has been developing and in the fintech field, and AGTB actually getting resources from it. What I have researched online on different interviews and news medias online, so that's I find it very promising and exciting. So why am I interested in the internship? As mentioned before, because they're doing something quite new and disrupting the traditional industry. It's actually redefining the trade finance using this fintech platform to bring more transparency to the trade finance. I'm personally quite interested in technology sector, and also the fintech. I see fintech as a great way to apply the technology to figure out real problems and tackle problems in the traditional industry. So I find it very exciting. And secondly, I mentioned a little bit in the previous question, the fintech landscape in Abu Dhabi developed super fast. Being part of the landscape itself, the Anglo Gulf Trade Bank is being part of the landscape itself. It's gotta be quite vibrant and growing quite fast. So I want to be part of the growth there. And thirdly, also I'm interested in to move back to the UAE and work on more fast growing kind of enterprise. So this sort of match what I'm looking for. The last thing to answer is why should you consider me for the industry? I think there are 3 reasons. Firstly, I have consulting experience across different functions and different geographies. I'm quite good at problem solving, and certainly smooth communication with different people across different levels. So this would put me in the position that I could solve the project problem they're trying to address in the summer efficiently. And secondly, I have a great passion for technology and especially fintech. So I previously worked with a couple of startups on different kind of topics. I also look at the fintech sector. When I did my pre-MBA internship at Joy, a 5 billion valuation technology firm, I was looking at some fintech opportunities there as well. So it's related to what AGTB operates and the business as well. So I think that experience would drive me to make great input for the projects they're working on. Lastly, I have the regional experience. I think since I lived in the Middle East before and I have great passion for the region, I think I can just hit the ground and running without much getting adjusted to the environment there. So I think that puts me in an advantage position in terms of considering why should I be a good candidate for an internship. And that would be my answer to those questions. I'm looking forward to have a chat with you and enjoy the bank. Thank you and have a good day.